All right, Northwoods Cardboard Gang, today we're going to be playing, that's right, everybody's favorite game show, Stash or Cash. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at this month's Pokemon investments and deciding whether or not it is time to stay with these and stash them away, or should we be cashing out and moving on to the next item. Well, that's right, today we will take a look at that right after this. Alright everybody, I am Andy with Northwoods TCG, and today we are going to be playing a little bit of a game where we take once again a look at products that are from Pokemon investing for the last month in sealed products and decide whether or not it is time to stash these products away and continue to hold them for a longer investment, or is it time to cash out and move on to the next item. So today we're going to be taking a look at Pokemon sealed investments. We're going to be looking at 4 different ones and going over whether or not I believe it's time to cash out on these or stash them away. So before we do that though, guys, and you're new to the channel, be sure that you hit that subscribe, be sure you hit that notify, and last but not least, hit that like button. We can get a few likes in this video. It'd be greatly appreciated. It helps us out a ton as always. And just as a reminder, we have done this in the past, so that will be linked above me also if you want to see where this started and how we continue it. We're going to try and do this on a monthly basis. So every 4 weeks, I'm going to try and do this particular series to be able to look at your Pokemon sealed investments and decide whether or not it is time to cash out on certain products that may be sitting there or lackluster or have stalled, and moving on to the next item. So without further ado, why don't we jump into the first item on our list, which is going to be this one. All right, guys, we're going to start the list off with a fan requested on the last video of Stash or Cash, which is going to be the Brilliant Stars ATV. Now, this one is a particularly interesting product. It is probably one of the most heavily printed ETBs of 2022. And with the expectation of that alternate art Charizard in this particular set, we expected some really good movement in that trainer gallery and everything in the set. We were expecting some really good movement and continued upward movement every time that this set kind of sat with no reprints or normal restocks, and that just hasn't happened, right? This set really has not performed as well as a lot of us had predicted, even comparing to Evolving Skies, where we thought that this one could be potentially better than Evolving Skies. Some people did. Other people thought that this thing would have performed quite similarly with that trainer gallery and continue to move forward, but it just hasn't seemed to quite light the fire like Evolving Skies did. But when we go ahead and take a look at this Brilliant Stars ETB, this thing has gotten massive amounts of reprints overall, but do I think that overall this is a good reason to just cash out of it and get away from it? No, I think this is a good item to actually sit here and stash. That's right, I'm going to be continuing to stash my Brilliant Stars ETBs. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, I do think that overall this set is a strong contender to be a decent set in the future. I think overall there's some really good aspects to this set. And right now, people are really just kind of sitting in Evolving Skies with all the hype and FOMO of that particular set. We also have a lot of great alternate arts and trainer galleries inside of Lost Origins, and that Silver Tempest Lugia has kind of just overshadowed the amount of Charizards that we've gotten in Sword and Shield and previous sets in the actual recent eras. And I think that Charizard will become a draw again. I really do. I think that this set is probably a little bit underrated or undervalued currently. I just don't think people are into it. They're all working on other things, and especially with the hype now in Sun and Moon, going back to those sets, Team Up and all those are now getting some hype and FOMO. We are seeing a slowdown of some of these Sword and Shield sets on the upper end. You know, the newer sets just aren't performing as well. Is it time to cash out? No. Stashing it is definitely the better option on this, with it sitting at about $35 currently. Unless you got these at way under MSRP, that's still going to be kind of a loss at this point for a lot of people. And overall, I think that there is that performance factor that will come with Brilliant Stars in the future. And once again, it's an alternate art Charizard. It's the only alternate art Charizard to this point. And I think that that will draw a premium in the future and will continue to push this set in that upward direction. So once again, this one for me is a stash. We're going to move on to the next one, which is going to be this one. All right, guys, here we are, and this one next to me is going to be the Hidden Fates ATVs. Now, let's take a look at this particular set. This one actually has not done a lot in the last year up until recently. Now, this is one of those sets that a lot of people have asked me in the past, should you be selling these? Should you be buying these? What should we be doing with Hidden Fates? Because it's kind of just stagnated. Once again, I've talked about that losing that hype and FOMO and kind of retracting down and just kind of sitting even was expected with some of these sets. But now we were watching all of those sets in the Sun and Moon era continuing to move up and do extremely well, right? everything around Hidden Fates was going up and up and up, and we didn't see Hidden Fates following the same trend. It actually stayed a little stagnant while all the other sets were doing that. And that was one of the points that I had about a month ago was Hidden Fates is going to hit. It has to. It's eventually going to start to move, and it's going to cause some upheaval in all of the Sun and Moon products, considering we're seeing this continual gain and drive upwards when it comes down to the particular end of the era Sun and Moon sets. Everything from team up on forward. So, once again, is this a time to cash or stash out on this? To me, I'm going to stash this one. Once again, Hidden Fates to me is one of my favorite sets. It's really difficult for me to want to be able to sell this one currently, especially since now we are seeing Hidden Fates tailing with all the rest of the other Sun and Moon sets. Now it is finally moving up. We're seeing some really good gains on this in the last couple of weeks. And overall, I think that the performance on this will continue. Once again, I think it's going to be one of those sets that you're going to see kind of a little stairs effect to it. You're going to see a good gain, and then you're going to see a flat line. You're going to see a good gain, and then you're going to see a flat line. And we're going to continue to see that probably through the history of this Hidden Fates ETBs. Overall, I think that it's a great product. Overall, I think that Shining Charizard is definitely a great chase in that particular set. And the number 3 thing is I do believe that this set has some really good nostalgia factor when it comes down to a lot of people in the Pokemon TCG that came in that 2019, right when Hidden Fates was hitting the shelf or just before it. So once again, Hidden Fates is one of those sets that brought a lot of people into here, and I do believe that that will continue to be a driving factor for this particular product. And at the end of the day, I think this Pokemon sealed product will do well. To me, it's still a stash. I would be sitting on my Hidden Fates ETBs currently and waiting this out for the long term. Moving on to the next one, which is going to be this one. All right, next one on the list I got here is going to be everybody's favorite, which is going to be the Pokemon Go ATV. I know it's kind of an ETB one, but that's really the one place that I want to really discuss quite a bit right now is going to be these ETBs. And personally, in my opinion, this is a cash out. I think if you've had these ETBs, you haven't seen any growth. It's been nothing but drop and stagnation on these particular sets. We're even seeing them now being sold at Walmarts and Targets for $10 under MSRP, which is even lower than they're selling on TCG Player right now at the stores. So overall, I think that these ones are becoming more of a burden for you at the end of the day. I would be looking at some avenues maybe to cash out on this particular item and then move into something else, something that's going to maybe recoup that loss, or at least if you do sell these out right now, you can sell them for around, $40 to $45 pretty consistently. If you go on to like Pokemon World or something like that, you might be able to get with only a 3% loss versus using like TCG Player or eBay to sell them, where you're looking at a 13% to 15% loss when it comes down to the actual selling fees of these particular items. So once again, definitely some options to look at would be low interest or low percentage cost for seller's fees on particular items to get out of here. But I would honestly and realistically, time to move on and get out of those. I just don't see the potential in these particular sets. Overall, there's just no interest in it. Interest is very saggy on this particular set, and I just do not see performance in this anywhere in the near future. I think this is just going to be a really laggy set all the way out through. Everything else in Sword and Shield I could see doing extremely good, and this one's still sitting behind and just not performing very well. So for me personally, if I owned Pokemon Go, a lot of it, I would be starting to cash out on that. Take my losses, take my hit, lick my wounds, and move on to something else that's going to be a little bit higher performing set in the future, whether that's some Sword and Shield booster boxes, whether that's jumping into some of this Lost Origin reprint. We're seeing a good dump on Lost Origin prices right now for the booster boxes. Maybe that's a time to jump in on those particular items, but definitely something to be looking at or seriously thinking about is cashing out of this particular item. I just don't see it futuristically. I was concerned about it before it was released, and I put my concerns out here when other people were asking how well it was going to perform, and I just did not see it then, and I still don't see this futuristically. That Mewtwo alternate art, kind of a letdown, pretty readily available, not a good chase card in that particular set either. So once again, that's my position on this one, and that's where my opinion is that I would be cashing out slowly, trying to minimize that loss, and then moving on to something else to maybe recoup some of that money or your loss that you are going to probably receive for selling the set right now. Unless you get lucky, list it for 50 and you sell it for 50. So otherwise, let's go on to the next one, which is going to be this one. That's right, guys. We are here at the end, and before we talk about the last one, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe, hit that notify, and once again, hit that like button, especially if you made it this far into the video. And as we look at the last one here, this is definitely going to be an opinion, and it's a guess, but this is my actual opinion on this one, which is going to be this particular one, which is the Silver Tempest booster box. That's right. The Silver Tempest booster box to me has some really good opportunity to do well. That Lugia V definitely draws that Gen 1, Gen 2 Pokemon fans into this set. That Lugia is a fantastic artwork. I do love that particular Lugia alternate art. It's a fantastic art set. Overall, I think that it will do extremely well in the future, and that chase card will continue to draw people in. I know it's a one chase wonder, but overall, I think that the set is a strong set, and the trainer gallery does have some stuff to offer into it. Right now, though, I would be cashing out of it. I know some people are going to be wondering, why are you cashing out if you think it's going to do really well? Here's my reasoning on why I would be cashing out of this particular booster box. The reason being is the reprint threat right now. We have seen Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, and now Lost Origins get reprint notifications, and we are getting reprint of those particular products. My thought process is that Silver Tempest has been doing extremely well. It's up to about $145, $147. Some places are selling for about $150 a booster box. And if that's the case, and a reprint comes, that's going to drop extremely fast, and I think that it's going to really hinder the overall performance of this set, considering it's only got that Lugia V alternate art as its major chase card inside of it. With that thought process, I would be selling now and be prepared to probably purchase more of it back when the reprint hits. If you want to be safe, you could split this one. You could say this is a split and say, I'm going to keep some of my Silver Tempest and I'm going to sell half of it in the chance of a reprint. But considering we're seeing it go boom, boom, boom down the line, I truly do believe that a reprint's going to happen to Silver Tempest here in the near future, and that's going to drive that booster box pricing down. Take your money now, cash out of what you can, rebuy it when you get that reprint, and then restock if you want to, and take that little bit of that sandwiching money in between there and have some good times where you can maybe purchase a few more booster boxes or move it into Lost Origins now and go back for Silver Tempest again when we do get that reprint. Overall, I think the writing's on the wall with it. How much we will get and how much it will affect the market, it's yet to be seen. But to me, personally, when I'm seeing all these reprints coming up, Silver Tempest has not been announced yet. Lost Origins just got announced. We're probably going to be seeing a reprint of Silver Tempest here in the near future. So why not cash out now while it's at a high point and buy again when it's a little bit lower if you want to look at that aspect and make a little bit extra money on those particular booster boxes. So personally, right now, just put it out there. A Silver Tempest booster box is a cash out. I would be cashing out of this particular one now. All right, guys, now moving on out of everything. Thank you for watching. Once again, there isn't a lot of booster boxes on here. I did ETBs specifically because ETBs are the ones that seem to be doing a little bit of whatever they want. Booster boxes have been consistently moving up until a reprint notification. Then they drop and they kind of go flat for a little bit, and then they start to creep back up. So once again, that's why the only booster box on here was Silver Tempest. Overall, I think that there are some great opportunities coming up after these reprints. Lost Origins coming up if we're looking at buying aspects. Lost Origins definitely going to be a good buy depending on how big this reprint is and how much the distributors sell the particular booster boxes at. I know a lot of distributors have already made it clear that they're not selling them cheap. They're probably not going to drop as far as we would like because of the fact that they aren't going to be selling these at a really cheap price unless they don't move. If the LGSs don't purchase it, then it may go up or down in price a little bit more, but I highly doubt that the LGSs aren't going to be purchasing these particular products because they do sell extremely well. Even our LGSs have no problem selling Sword and Shield products, while Scarlet and Violet is still sitting behind. So I think Sword and Shield is still a pretty safe bet for most of these things. If you can catch them after reprints and push it forward, there's definitely some good opportunities in the future. And when we go into a buying video, we'll definitely discuss these points as we're moving forward. So once again, guys, thank you for joining me today. And if you did like this content and you, of course, made it this far into the video, once again, be sure you hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and last but not least, hit that like button one more time. It'd be great to help us out and move the channel right along. Gets us seen, gets views going, and keeps the YouTube algorithm happy as can be to keep us moving forward. So other than that, guys, thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.